I really wanted to take a little bit of time today and talk about this, okay? The Marvel hyper idiotic fanboys. Now, let me be very clear here. I am a DC fanboy. I'm totally cool with somebody liking one thing over the other. Like, hey, you prefer all the DC movies over the Marvel movies. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I predetermine anything by Marvel is garbage. There are DC movies I love. There are Marvel movies I hate. That's totally cool. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But that's not what we're talking about either. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know the type of person we're talking about. We're talking about this zealotous, brain-dead, fanboy, zealot, moronic, corporate slave mentality. I've warned that it is actually dangerous. And that ultimately, you're going to hurt the movie fan community as a whole. You're doing damage. That this sort of mentality, we're now starting to see the actual practical damage that these brain-dead morons are starting to cause the genre and the film fan community as a whole. We're starting to see this kind of damage. I mean, I could pull up 100 tweets that I get from zealot Marvel fanboys who accuse me of being in Warner Brothers' pocket and who accuse me of being a blind DC fanboy because I was talking so big about Batman versus Superman and that I liked it even though other critics didn't, and that I could show you all these tweets from a bunch of these Marvel zealot idiot fanboys who sent that. We're starting to see it become just flat out toxic and dangerous. And it's not DC, it's Marvel, brain-dead corporate Marvel slaves that are doing this. It's not until you get into this war that you see the real worst of humanity come out in a lot of the tweets and responses I get. Like, seriously, I have never read more homophobic, racist, belligerent, hate-filled stuff than stuff I get from zealot Marvel fanboys when I start talking good things about Batman versus Superman. Now, forgive my language that you're about to hear, but this is the example of what you get. You know, they write stuff like, homo trash cocksucker fucker, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the intelligence level of people involved in this type of a scenario, in this type of war. A friend of mine, a colleague of mine in the online film critical world, was the first person to give Avengers a negative review on Rotten Tomatoes. And she ended up getting death threats. Don't act all innocent and surprised when something as horrific and horrible as a young lady getting death threats. Because folks, like, I'm sorry, but when you get online and you start amping up the rhetoric and you start amping up fucking faggots, DC cocksuckers, blah, 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 like all this visceral, poisonous, terrible stuff, and it escalates and it escalates and it escalates, and you keep fostering that and you keep incubating that, and you just relish and you live and you roll around like pigs in muck. Because it was after the Grace Randolph stuff and this death threat stuff that I started getting people sending me messages who aren't big into comic book films. It's like, oh, only pathetic losers watch comic book movies now. Why are they saying that? Why are people sending me comments like that? Because they see these uneducated, driveling idiots sending out death threats, or they get on a chat board. Say they get on a Movie Talk Live chat board, and half of what they see are these little 12-year-old morons writing, "You're a fucking cocksucker if you watch," and blah, blah. Like, if I start getting comments from people and messages from people like this going, I don't want to be one of those. I'm not going to watch these movies. I'm not going to be getting into these movies. You start this whole little spatty, sniveling war is turning other people off the genre. You are hurting the industry as a whole. You are hurting the fan community as a whole. You are nothing but a cancerous little blob that's just killing everything around it that you claim to love and support. You're actually hurting it. I still think the most brilliant comment about this entire situation has come from Superman himself, Henry Cavill. And I wish more people would listen to what Henry had to say about this. But a couple weeks ago, he was asked about the DC Marvel fan, the war and stuff like that. And Henry, being the incredibly eloquent, smart dude that he is, This is what Superman had to say. Talking about the war between Marvel films and DC films. Henry Cavill gets it. This is what Henry Cavill said. They're such different entities, which is great. And they're not really competition at all because they're so different. And that means DC will do well. Listen again to what listen to how much common frickin' sense Henry Cavill is making here, okay? Okay, listen again to how smart Superman is because he is 100% bang on the money. All you Marvel crazy fanboys, those of you who think that Batman vs. Superman making $850 million worldwide is somehow a giant failure, you're clinically insane if you call $850 million worldwide some kind of failure. But anyway, if you're sitting there celebrating that, yay, Batman vs. Superman didn't do as well as it should have. If you're sitting there and you're a Marvel, acolyte going, yay, Batman vs. Superman, quote unquote, failed. Yay, a bunch of fans didn't like it. Yay, a bunch of critics didn't like it. Then you're stupid. Because listen to what Henry Cavill is saying, because what Henry Cavill said is 100% right. And I have been saying this for a long time. The better the superhero genre does, the better it is for us.